I saw it. You might want to look at that footage and make sure that it shouldn't say I am ashy, because it's a little dry. Oh, it's in there though. All right, it'll be fine. Thank you. I've been in love a few times in my life. But when did I know it was the love? It was the permanent love. It was the love that I wanted to grow old with. It actually happened in a very specific time frame. I was dating my now husband, and it was fairly early in our courtship. We were together about 4 months, and we went to spend the weekend with his family in Las Vegas, and it was the first time that I had really spent any kind of significant amount of time with his parents, and I met his grandparents for the first time. And my husband is a third. His grandfather is the first, and I had met his grandfather that weekend. It was Father's Day weekend. And Father's Day, we had a big family dinner, steak and rice and salads, and it was a great day. And his grandfather, who had been sick for a few years, had a great day. It was full of strength. And we left, we drove back that Sunday, heading back to Los Angeles, and apparently about an hour after we left, his grandfather had a massive stroke. So a couple days later, they basically called and said he wasn't going to make it, and he called me, my husband called me, and he said, I gotta go. They're saying he's not gonna make it through the night. And I said, I'm going with you. And he said, I don't know when I'll be back. And I said, that's all right, I'm coming. And I went down, and his grandfather passed away that Friday. We drove down Tuesday night. It took us about 3.5 hours to get from LA to Vegas. And he passed away that Friday. But during the course of those few days of being back in Las Vegas, I saw my boyfriend at the time. I saw him being vulnerable. I saw him being sensitive. I saw him doing what needed to be done for his family. I saw him being a leader. I saw him being humble. And I mean, we stayed up and wrote his grandfather's obituary together. We shuttled people back and forth to the airport. We cleaned his grandmother's house, scrubbed toilets, did what needed to be done. And I remember before that, I thought, this is a great guy, but is he romantic enough? Is he, I'd had these great kind of love affairs in my life, trips to Paris and all kinds of, really romantic things, storybook type things. But it was in those days of watching him doing what needed to be done that I realized, excuse my language, fuck romance. But really it was about the character of a man and being with somebody who could do what needed to be done, who could have their moment, have their sensitivity, have their vulnerability, and still keep on keeping on. And it was for both of us, for him as well as for me, that was the time where we saw each other in our darkest moments and realized that was the person we wanted to go through life with. Not just the good times, not just the romantic times or the Valentine's days, but also the tragedies of life, the things that you cannot control, the things that are beyond your ever being able to plan for. And for both of us, we've talked about it since. That was where we realized this is what permanent love looks like. It's being with somebody that you can see in those moments, share those moments with, and respect and admire how they conduct themselves, and respect and admire how they reveal themselves and their true character, because you don't have time to put your best foot forward in times such as that. I was single for 2 years. In that 2-year period while I was single, one of the things that I did was try to figure out why my previous relationships hadn't worked. And that is really about self-examination and self-effacing and real honesty and getting to the nitty-gritty of what it was that I was attracted to and why I was attracted to certain dysfunctions that didn't work for me. And that required homework on my part, and it required discipline on my part, and really trying to figure out what was healthy, the healthy things that I had brought to my life, and the unhealthy things that I had allowed in my life. And so I really needed to do that work first. And once I had gone through that process, I took a very proactive stance in the sense that I met my husband on Match.com. And a lot of people are like, you know, you're an actress, how did you do that? But where there's a will, there's a way. I put up a great profile, and I didn't have a picture up there because I didn't want people contacting me just because they recognized me or had seen me on TV or in movies or whatever. And I wrote to him. I did searches and I wrote to him, and thankfully, you know, he wrote me back, and then I sent him a picture later. So that was one of the things that I did. But I think more importantly that to speak to loneliness is, you know, to be a friend, you have to make yourself friendly. And I think that it's really important that we as women examine ourselves and examine what is truly important to us, what really matters, and then set out to go about and attract those things. And really how you attract those things is by being what it is that you want. My pastor talks a lot about that, about those qualities, about you have to be what it is you want to attract. If you want somebody who's on time, if you want somebody who's financially responsible, if you want somebody who's got good credit, if you want somebody, you know, who is ambitious, if you want somebody, if those are the things that you want, I think it's an important thing to first set those goals up for yourself and implement them for you. Because no matter who comes into your life, no one can ever complete you. You have to be an entire whole entity to yourself. And that's a really important beginning to attracting what it is that you want in your life. And it's not just about attracting a man, it's just also about attracting the energy and the environment that you want to live your life in. I am grateful. I'm a good steward. I am a woman. I am essence.